It will take you about 2 hours to read my award-winning Amazon #1 best-selling book, Bulletproof Retirement. And you can also watch my latest series of videos in approximate 10-minute chunks that share most of the important detail and elements. But here's a 3-minute snapshot of the key takeaways in each of the 6 elements. It might not be quite 3 minutes. Number 1, get a grip of your number. Try and work out the cost of your ideal lifestyle each year and write it down. Factor in inflation, which has typically run at about 5% looking back over the last 30 years. And that should start to paint a picture for you as to what you might need your pension or investment portfolio to do for you to cover you through a 30-year retirement window, which is typical now of what we can all expect. Number 2, invest using academic data and peer-reviewed evidence. Don't try and pick stocks, bonds and funds and guess what's going to work whilst looking in a rear view mirror or working with an advisor or manager who looks in a rear view mirror with top 20 fund lists and all that gubbins. You want a series of funds or a fund that buys the entire global equity market in the developed world, and you want it to repeat through the emerging world. Don't get caught up on whether Brazil will beat Chile or Colombia. And don't pick individual hot new listed companies from a stockbroker, for example. Instead, use a fund that is exposed to all of the new hot stocks. There's something like about 4,500 small cap companies in our fund, and some of them will turn out to be the next Teslas, Amazons and Googles. Which ones? We don't know, but we don't need to. Don't bet your house or your pension on trying to guess which ones will be the big next success. The key takeaway from investing into small cap companies can be seen if looking back in history. £1 invested into the UK equity market, the all share, in 1956 was later worth £750 in 2014. The same £1 was worth just under 6,000 if it had been invested into the small cap market. Don't invest into fixed income. I know it's controversial, and experts and even leading academics will shout and say it's wrong. And they'll say that holding as much as 50% in fixed income can still give you the same returns without the volatility and gyration of prices. But I disagree. I say go down a full equity route and live with the gyration of prices if you can. I would do that whilst planning for retirement, and I would do it whilst in retirement. And yes, we will, of course, and would monitor withdrawal levels and keep a cash buffer too, so we can use that when the inevitable 3, 5 or 7 year cycles come and the markets tank. Number 3, use your tax allowances. Don't leave them behind. They disappear every April. That's your annual pension allowance, your capital gains tax allowance and your ISA allowance. Once they're gone, they're gone. Make sure you're selling down gains in your investment portfolio every year before April to crystallise those gains so you use your allowance, otherwise it's lost forever when the tax year flips over. Number 4, think about your number, which we touched on at the start, and get an assessment from a proper financial planner as to what a realistic level of insurance looks like to cover your family or business partners against catastrophe scenarios like premature death or premature serious illness. On average, people are massively underinsured in our country, and I know none of us like paying for insurance, but if you're trying to achieve an MPOT of 2 or 4 or 6 or 10 million pounds or whatever, having a 200 grand insurance policy from comparison.com is not going to cut the mustard. And if something goes wrong, it's not going to be very good. The family are not going to have the backstop they need to protect their plans, which should have materialised if you were still with them. Number 5, potentially controversial again. Don't always go straight to a solicitor and ask them to handle your estate plan or will. Have it looked at by an advisor who is tuned into the financial plan, investment plan, and indeed can tune into an estate plan. That advisor who's qualified in all 3 areas is crucial. And yes, some solicitors will say we understand financial planning and we take everything into account. But I can tell you from my own experience that's not always the case. In certain cases, they can be quite vertical in their approach. I think it's because solicitors have maybe been to law college and they do the standard legal piece. They get on with it. They don't always see everything else that's around a client. And it's a fact. I've got personal experience. The best example I can give you of it is a big city Liverpool-based lawyer, and I'm talking about a proper practice now, not a small firm, had written wills with a business trust for a business owner client I look after. And they charged a significant fee for doing this, by the way. The wills incorporated a business trust, kind of standard, you know, you've been to law school, let's put a business trust in the will for this business owner. But what my client had was going to be absolutely no use to him. And that's because the company is in the process of exploring a sale. And if it sells, which we think it will. And unless that client dies at his desk, the business trust isn't going to be of any use to him. So you have to be really, really careful. Number 6, review your financial plan, review your investment plan, and review your estate plan every year. And make notes that sit on file that the family can look back on and that can be used to support any future problems that might materialise. I'm Martin Wilcox and I'm speaking to you from my private office here on Water Street in Liverpool, which is the main base from which I help my clients, we help our clients, and we get to grips with complete and holistic, I would say, financial planning. And all of the work we do comes with a need for a deep level of trust. It always has been and always will be in my work. But you can't promote trust or find it online or buy it. It's earned over time. And I can tell you that over the last 16 years, we've built that trust with the clients we look after, and most of them have gone on record already and shared their experiences of working with me and my firm. And at the time of recording this latest message, just over 190 separate individual investor clients have onboarded. And I say this a lot too. It's taken years, like 16, 17 years. In fact, when you think about it, it's taken the last 20 years if you count the 3 years I spent advising under a networks umbrella. So it's a huge amount of time. Now, my book was first published in June and it is now an Amazon #1 bestseller in personal finance. It is an Amazon #1 bestseller in personal risk management, and it's an Amazon #1 bestseller in personal retirement planning. So what do I want you to do? I would very much like you to request my full promotional pack. The pack has a link to the book, it has a link to our company brochure, and it has a range of free guides to help you get started and provoke your thinking. It has a link to book a non-cost consultation, which is provided at my expense too. So request the pack and I'll see you soon. Take care.